I'm a big believer of doing what you can with what you have where you are. Because right now, depending on where you live, you might not have access to a gym, or maybe you never had a gym membership to begin with, and that's okay. I've always been a big believer that having a gym membership is just icing on the cake when it comes to your health and wellness journey. So in this video, I want to specifically talk about how to lose fat at home, and you're probably at home watching this without ever having to go to the gym. These are the exact same tips that I give to all my students, and they've all gone to see some amazing results, and some of them don't have gym memberships, period. So it's entirely possible to do this. And what I'm about to teach you is specifically meant to help you lose fat and keep it off. Who doesn't want that? Here's one of my students 1 year later after dropping 70 pounds of fat. Here's another one. She lost 80 pounds and she's been able to keep it off. You want long-term, sustainable fat loss, not just a crash diet. If that's what you're looking for, then you're in the right place. Before we get started, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell to get notified every time I post a new video every week. Okay, let's clear something up right away. You should not be aiming for fat loss. That's actually not the right term. I know that that's kind of the generally accepted verbiage, and I even use it sometimes. You want to aim for fat loss instead, because there is a world of difference between the two. If you lose 20 pounds of weight, for example, but some of that is fat and some of that is muscle, then you might actually end up with a higher body fat percentage. But if you just aim for 20 pounds of fat and maintain muscle mass, then that is called body recomposition. And you're gonna look good shirtless as a side effect. Here's what 25 pounds of fat loss looks like. And she also lost 6 dress sizes. So that's what we want, because here's the thing. Fat loss at home really comes down to 4 key principles. Number 1 is a calorie deficit combined with hormone optimization. Number 2 is resistance training. Number 3 is proper fuel, specifically getting adequate protein. And number 4 is making supportive lifestyle choices that upregulate your fat burning metabolism. Beyond that, it's going to require some individualization. Bio-individuality plays a huge role in this, like how long you've been carrying the weight that you're trying to lose, your genetic predisposition to storing fat, how aggressive you are when it comes to your goals. That's why following a proven step-by-step fat loss system is extremely important when it comes to this. You don't want to just freestyle this, and I'm going to link to my program here somewhere at the top if you want to know more about it. But if you just stick to the 4 main principles that I'm gonna give you, it's gonna get you pretty far. So let's break them down. Key principle number 1 is you need to be in a calorie deficit combined with optimizing your hormones. And I always get the calories in versus calories out zealots commenting on my videos about this. Yes, it's calories in versus calories out, but it's only gonna work if you also optimize your hormones. If you just strictly cut calories, it ain't gonna work. Like, you might lose weight at the beginning if you do that, but you always put the weight back on. There is a world of difference between the two. And there are 2 ways to approach this. First is the methodical way, where you use a calorie counting app like MyFitnessPal, and you should check out my video tutorial about it if you've never used it or heard of it before. But basically, the gist of it is that you put information about yourself on this app, like your height, your weight, your goals, your activity level, things like that. And then it's gonna give you a certain amount of calories, and that is your calorie deficit number. And your goal is to log in your food every day, and you wanna stay below that number, and you're gonna lose weight. And this is something that I recommend to a lot of my students, especially when they're just starting out and they have no idea how much they should be eating. This becomes paramount, because you can't control what you can't measure. But if you want long-term sustainable fat loss, which is what we're aiming for, then you're gonna eat foods that optimize your hormones for fat loss. Specifically, a diet that moderates your insulin levels, because insulin is what controls your body weight. And the best diet that's been proven to moderate your insulin levels is a high-fat, moderate protein, low-carb diet. And I have a separate video on the best superfoods for fat loss, so make sure you check that out, because I talk about certain foods in further detail in that video. But basically, you want to revolve your diet around plants and animals, and you want to eat single ingredient, mostly unprocessed, nutrient-dense foods. I want you to eat whole foods, real food. And I also recently made a video on what exactly I eat in a day, so make sure you check that out. But my diet reflects exactly that principle, and this is a physique plus or minus a couple of pounds that I've been able to maintain the last 8 years. Now, if you're not all about the macro tracking life, that's okay. I have a lot of students who's had great results and they've never heard or used MyFitnessPal before. If that's how you want to approach this, that's okay. Just make sure you check out my other videos on how to lose weight without counting calories. So you have a little bit of homework here. But in either case, one of the most powerful tools that you can use if you want to lose fat at home is to incorporate time-restricted eating or intermittent fasting, because it is an unbelievably easy way to create a calorie deficit. Because when you fast, you're simply going to tap into your stored energy in the form of stored glycogen and body fat for energy. That's what it's there for. It is not just there for looks, and you have at least 100,000 calories in the form of body fat waiting to be used. And I always get asked this question, like, what's the best exercise to lose love handles? What's the best workout to lose arm fat? You know, the chicken wing. It's really simple. It's 5 sets of stop putting so much food in your mouth. And here's really all I want you to think about. It's not about eating less, but less frequently, because you can bet that there is a world of difference between how your body reacts if you eat 6 small meals a day, for example, versus eating all your food, all your calories in one sitting, like if you eat 1 meal a day. And that's what I do. But the minimum effective dose here is a 16-hour fast, and ideally you're only eating 2 meals. Anything shorter than that and you're not really maximizing the benefits of fasting. Like some people say that, oh, you can do a 14-hour fast. I guess it's better than nothing if you're just starting out. But the longer you go, the better. So you can do a 16-hour fast, 18, 20, 22, or even a 24-hour fast. But let's use the minimum effective dose here. So you fast for 16 hours, and that includes your sleep, and then you have an 8-hour eating window to eat all your food if you're tracking your calories. If you're not tracking your calories, again, that's okay. Just eat a lot of non-starchy, green, leafy, cruciferous vegetables. And then you want to combine that with some animal protein and a couple of eggs. And just let your satiety hormones tell you that you're full. Because at the end of the day, fat loss is not about counting calories. It's about controlling your hunger. That's why you want to eat a lot of highly satiating foods, because it's going to actively turn off ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone. And the most satiating foods are fat, protein, and non-starchy, green, leafy, cruciferous vegetables, because they all activate your satiety hormones in their own way. Specifically, cholecystokinin, peptide YY, and that stretch mechanism in your stomach from the fiber in the vegetables. And I just have to mention this. This is why eating low-calorie ice cream or low-fat cheese, granola bars, and other low-calorie, highly processed foods just for the sake of counting calories is a one-way ticket to Hunger City, because none of those things activate your satiety hormones. Notice how you can't just eat one Dorito chip, like you want to eat the entire bag. Same thing with eating breakfast cereal, for example. By mid-morning, you're hungry. The quality of your food also matters, because you can bet that there is a world of difference between the nutritional profile of grass-fed and grass-finished beef versus grain-fed feedlot animals. Same thing with cheap eggs versus pasture-raised eggs. The pasture-raised eggs will have like a nice orange color. I'm talking about the yolk here, versus cheap eggs where it has that light yellow egg yolk color. And I firmly believe that eating high-quality foods does not have to break your budget. And you should check out my How to Eat Healthy on a Budget video if you want to know more about this. Now, if you are tracking calories, I highly recommend that once a week you eat above your maintenance calories. You eat at a surplus. This can be called your refeed day or your cheat meal or whatever. And this does 2 things. A, you should not be in a calorie deficit 365 days out of the year, because your body is an adaptation machine. Your body will adapt to that. And B, it keeps people sane. And this type of diet flexibility increases adherence drastically. And adherence is everything when it comes to your success. It is impractical to tell someone that they can't enjoy the foods they love, like their treats, every once in a while. Like if somebody tells me that I can't eat cheesecake forever, I will not listen to you. Yes, the process might take longer doing it this way, but the results will be so much more permanent. Like, what is the point of working really hard for 12 weeks, for example, but then after that you go on the seafood diet and you eat everything in sight and you put all the weight back on that you lost? Where's the logic in that? Like, I'd rather take a slower approach where I get to keep my sanity until this whole thing becomes a lifestyle. And that is how you achieve long-term sustainable results. So that basically covers everything in terms of fat loss and your diet. But you want to have a multifaceted approach when it comes to this, because the first principle is just one piece of the pie. Key principle number 2, you need to do resistance training if you want to lose fat at home. Let me just start off by saying that you cannot go through life and expect to stay healthy and have good quality of life without exercise. If you are not willing to do some form of it, I am not your guy. You need to stop watching this video right now. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. you need to seek divine intervention instead. Listen, if the benefits of exercise could be put in a pill, it would be the biggest blockbuster medication of all time. Some of the awesome benefits include improved insulin sensitivity, and I mentioned how important it is to moderate your insulin levels. You get reduced stress from exercise, improved brain health, reduced risk of chronic disease, enhanced detoxification, it slows down the aging process, better sexual function, awesome things like that. This is why I always say that when it comes to improving your overall health and wellness and quality of life, there's literally nothing better you can do than to be as physically strong as humanly possible. And you achieve that through exercise, specifically resistance training, because that is going to play a key role when it comes to you losing body fat and maintaining and even building lean muscle mass at the same time. Having a lot of lean muscle mass is also a strong indicator of lifespan. It's also the key driver of your metabolism. The side effect being is that you look good shirtless. And I love training. I really do. I'm a gym rat. I miss going to the gym so much because it also gives me access to my people. That's where my community is. But right now, I have to make do with working out at home. And that's okay. But here's the problem with the internet. If you look up at-home fat loss workouts, you're gonna get about 1 million options. Most of them are not resistance training and are very cardio based, which is kind of the opposite of what you want if you're trying to lose fat and build muscle at the same time. You don't want to fall into the trap of doing chronic cardio workouts where you're doing workouts that are a little bit too hard, a little bit too frequently with insufficient rest. The cool thing is you don't even need any equipment to get started with this. I always like to say that you don't need exercise machines. You are the machine. And if you want a proven step-by-step plan on how to do this properly, then make sure you check out my Lean Body Blueprint 21-day weight loss challenge, and I'm gonna link to it somewhere at the top here. But again, do what you can with what you have where you are. Here's what you can do as a sample workout routine using your dog. Okay, I obviously had some fun doing that, but I hope you kind of see what I mean here when it comes to just doing everything you can with what you have. But if you're fortunate enough to have some home gym equipment, then absolutely go ahead and use that. That's awesome. Just remember that proper diet and intermittent fasting is for fat loss, while resistance training is for building muscle. They go hand in hand like peanut butter and jelly. The third principle of losing fat at home is proper fuel, specifically getting adequate protein. And this kind of goes hand in hand with resistance training. So when you do these workouts, you're creating micro tears in your muscle fibers, and protein becomes the building block to help repair those muscles so they become stronger and bigger. If you're a good student and you're actively doing resistance training, then I recommend getting anywhere between 0.7 to 0.8 grams per pound of lean body mass. If you're super active, for example, and you play sports, you can eat as much as 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. Anything more than that and it's unnecessary and it can get expensive. Your lean body mass is your weight minus your body fat. And you can kind of ballpark your body fat percentage here. Here's a little chart, for example, and you can just do some simple math from there. For example, let's kind of make it easier. A 120-pound person with 20 pounds of fat has a lean body mass of 100 pounds. So this person needs to eat anywhere between 70 to 80 grams of protein every day to maintain and build lean muscle mass. And I highly recommend that you get your protein intake from whole foods, preferably from sustainably sourced animal products, because the bioavailability of animal protein versus vegetable protein is not even remotely close. The bioavailability of animal protein is like 80%, while plant protein is somewhere around 20%. There is a world of difference between the two. The choice becomes pretty easy. And no, you don't need protein powders, protein cookies, protein pancakes, protein muffins, or protein bars, which are all just gimmicks anyway. Like if you eat a protein cookie, for example, you're still eating a cookie. A protein bar is just a Snickers bar with some protein. Let's call a spade a spade. Like our Paleolithic ancestors did not eat any of those things, and they were all naturally lean and strong. You don't need them. Anybody that tells you otherwise definitely went to the Bro Science Academy. Protein powder specifically, and everyone tells you to drink this stuff, is processed to the nth degree. And they're usually sweetened with sugar or sucralose or other artificial sweeteners. And they can get really expensive, but then somebody will say that, oh, but I buy the unsweetened stuff. Why would you even do that? Do you like the taste of cardboard? And let's circle back to satiety. Like, what do you think is more satiating? A scoop of your unsweetened protein powder, or a couple of eggs, or some ground beef? And there's really only one rule for protein. Don't drink your protein. Eat it. Okay, the fourth principle of losing fat at home is making proper, supportive lifestyle choices that upregulate your fat-burning metabolism. Here's the thing. You can be in a calorie deficit, eat adequate protein, and do resistance training, but if the other aspects of your life are not in check, you are gonna be severely disappointed with your results. And this is where a lot of people find themselves, especially the ones that have hit the dreaded weight loss plateau. They feel like they're doing everything right, but they're not losing weight. And I see a lot of these people in the comments of my videos. And I'm sorry, I try to do my best to respond to as many comments as I can. So let's talk specifically about 3 supportive lifestyle choices that actually move the needle. Number 1, stay active. I used to be the poster child of the active couch potato syndrome. I would go to my group class, and then for the rest of the day, I would turn into a couch potato. I would barely move. Listen, if you're sitting all day, even if you worked out for an hour and you don't actually even work out for that entire hour, but you don't move for the rest of the day, you're still considered sedentary. Like our Paleolithic ancestors regularly walk for 5 miles every day. That's a lot. I'm not even gonna ask you to walk for 5 kilometers every day. How about we set a goal of just getting 10,000 steps every day? That's doable. Why 10,000 steps? Well, it's a big enough goal that it forces you to move your body throughout the day. And ideally, you're breaking this up in like little chunks, little segments. Like I personally go for a walk at least 4 times every day, and I look forward to it every time because it's so relaxing and I feel 10 times better every time. And I also mentioned the concept of micro workouts in my other video. The idea is that, let's say every time you go to the bathroom, and you go anywhere between, I don't know, 7 to 10 times a day, at least. How about every time you go, you do 5 push-ups even on the counter and 5 air squats. By the end of the day, you would have done at least 100 body weight movements. That adds up real fast, and you're only gonna get benefits from it. Number 2, get some sleep. You are probably getting sick of me mentioning this because I say this in basically all my videos because it's so important. It bears repeating every time. Like none of this is going to work if you don't get proper sleep. I cannot be any more direct than that. The research is staggering when it comes to the connection between lack of sleep and poor health, weight gain, and a lot of bad things happening. Your hormones get completely out of whack if you don't get proper sleep every night. And you just don't function as a human being if you don't get good sleep. The next person that says, oh, I feel amazing after getting a poor night's sleep would be the first. And the bare minimum here is 7 hours of quality sleep every night. I mean, in a pitch black room every night. Number 3, manage your stress levels. Listen, next to poor sleep, chronic stress is the next big thing that throws a wrench when it comes to your health and wellness journey. And they usually go hand in hand. This is why I've been talking a lot about practicing mindfulness, journaling, and staying away from toxic environments, because those strategies are free and they help you manage your stress. Chronic stress can be extremely detrimental to your health because it leads to chronic inflammation. And that's how people get really, really sick. You don't want that. And listen, just do your best here. At the end of the day, again, it's all about doing what you can with what you have, where you are. Focus on tiny habits. Small, daily, good decisions add up to staggering results over time. And that, my friends, is how you lose fat at home. The next question then becomes, how are you actually supposed to eat if you want to lose weight? Because here's the thing. 80% of your body composition is determined by your diet. You can't just freestyle this part. Do you have a proven plan that you can follow? To help you with that, I want to give you a free copy of my Lean Body Blueprint. This is how I melted all the fat around my stomach without depriving myself of my favorite foods or wasting hours at the gym. It's a simple 4-step process specifically designed for busy professionals, and it's the exact same blueprint that I teach to all my private coaching clients, and they've all gone to see some amazing results. If you want to be the next success story, then download your free copy of the Lean Body Blueprint right now. There's going to be a link somewhere at the top here or in the description box. Just click on it, type in your email, and I'll send it to you right away. All right, that's all I've got. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and share it with your friends. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I post a new video every week. And hey, leave a comment below if you have any questions about this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. First, a high five.